My watchword for 2020 is going to be habits. Hey everybody, welcome back to Fiction Technician. If you haven't been here before, my name is Jane Kalmus. I am a writer of historical cozy mysteries, and today I'm getting in just under the wire before the end of 2020 to tell you all about the new productivity and habit forming challenge I'm undertaking in 2021, and that's dun da da da, my 250,000 word challenge. Okay, if you haven't guessed, that number comes from my goal. My goal is going to be to get 250,000 words written in 2021, and that's a cool 250,000. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I chose that number, how I'm structuring the challenge, and then I'm going to give the whole thing a little twist that's going to have it focused less on pure word output and more on consistency and habit formation. The inspiration for this challenge came when I read 5,000 Words Per Hour by Chris Fox. There are a lot of books out there on how to write faster. I really recommend this one. I really found a lot of it very useful. And in 5,000 Words Per Hour, Fox discloses that he writes and publishes about 400,000 words per year. So this just got my wheels going because my yearly word count, let's just say it's a lot lower. And so I just started wondering, well, what would be a really optimistic, really aspirational word count for me to shoot for? How many words would I like to be hitting every year? Ideally, if everything went well. And the answer I came up with was 240,000. Why this number? Well, my books tend to be about 80,000 words. So hitting 240K would let me support both of my series with a book. That's 160K. And then I've got a nice little chunk of 80K left over for another project. So I could write another book. Maybe I have an experimental idea that isn't really part of one of my current series, but I'm kind of interested in flirting with it. Or I could spend those 80,000 words on creating promotional materials, lead magnets, exclusive scenes for dedicated readers, this sort of thing. Basically, 240K would be 2 books with some solid room to spare, and that sounded ideal to me. And then I looked at that number and I decided to goose it up to 250K because that was a 250,000 words and that just sounded really awesome. So the first step was to look at that 250K and ask if I wanted to get that done, what would need to be my daily word quota. And I asked my trusty Amazon Echo device, what is a 250,000 divided by 365? And the number she came up with was 685. So that's just over 2 pages, and that's the number I'd need to hit every day to arrive at a 250,000 words at the end of 2021. And the more I thought about that number, the more I liked it because it just seemed doable. Even on a bad day, I felt like I could crawl my way to 685, just 100 words at a time here and there. And actually, the day I started really thinking seriously about this challenge, I had just come back from a camping trip with three of my 4 kids, and my initial thought was, well, there's a day where I couldn't have hit 685. But the more I thought about it, the more I wondered if I could have, if I had just started the day with the expectation that I would. We had to drive to the campsite, so there was a couple of hours in the car that I could have hammered out some words. I could have brought a notebook and scribbled a few words away while we were eating lunch. I could have just brought my phone with me and chattered a few paragraphs into it. So the more I thought about the moments when, during a very busy day, I could have found time for 685 words, the more I realized that this was something I really wanted to try. But the big clincher in my 250,000 word challenge didn't really show up until I realized the major mistake in my thinking, which was focusing on the 250,000 words. I love the name 250,000 word challenge. It's exciting, it's galvanizing, it's sexy. But it is also sort of intimidating, and if you find yourself getting behind, well, that big galvanizing number can actually become really discouraging. I have the feeling you probably know what I'm talking about here. You know that feeling when you're doing a writing challenge like NaNoWriMo and you start out strong, but then things start to fall apart. So in NaNoWriMo, you have to hit about 1,666 words every day in order to get to 50K by the end of the month. That's the point of the challenge. So you could start out strong, but then let's say you have a really bad day where you're just not able to put up any words. Well, then you need to recalculate that daily quota. And maybe you see that you can still hit your goal, but maybe instead of 1666, you now need to be hitting closer to 1800 words a day. And then another few days go by, and perhaps you keep slipping below that 1800 goal, or Maybe you have another big setback that bumps your daily quota even higher. Well, that feeling that you're off course and just can't get back off track, that is very demotivating. And honestly, it's the exact opposite of what I'm looking for in a year-long challenge. For a year-long challenge, what I want is something that's going to let me always come to my work with a feeling of positivity and optimism and hope. Regardless of whatever ups and downs I've had along the way, I want the structure of the challenge to always provide motivation. And so that's why our focus for this challenge just can't be on 250K. It has to be on the 685. 685 words every day. Because even if you hit a bad slump, maybe things heat up at your day job or your family gets into some trouble that makes it hard for you to meet your quota, whatever's happening, that's okay in terms of the challenge. Your goal is not going to slip any farther away from you because the goal is only 685. And the minute things start to normalize for you, well, you can hit that goal that very day and feel good about it. And that's really what this challenge is about. Hitting a goal consistently and, importantly, allowing ourselves to celebrate it. Celebration is actually huge in habit formation. Another book I read while I was formulating this challenge is Tiny Habits by BJ Fogg, in which he talks about the fact that celebrating actually unlocks a little rush of the hormone dopamine for your brain, kind of a little chemical reward that really aids in habit formation. Celebration can be as small and simple as checking a mark on your calendar. That's all we need. We just want a little moment to recognize that we've done well and get that little dopamine rush. So that's why I've made up these monthly word trackers for my digital bullet journal. These are for January and February, but I'll be making up more as the year progresses. And these are going to let me just mark off every day that I hit that 685 word quota. I can also write down word counts so that I can total things up for the end of the month. But again, the focus is not on that big word count. The focus is just on the consistency of being able to mark off every day. So you can download these word trackers if you would like to use them for good notes or notability. And I'll also be making up these fun little badges for anyone who wants to jump in on the challenge with me. These are just little digital stickers that you can put in your digital bullet journal to celebrate your milestones. I'll be making up a 365-day badge for those who manage to hit their quota on every single day. But I'll also make up badges for people who reach their quota on 350 days, 300, all the way down to 100. If you can hit 685 words on just 100 days this year, you'll have written 68,500 words. And that's most of a novel, which is a huge accomplishment to be very proud of. If you want to jump in on the 250,000 word challenge with me, it's super simple. Just comment below, I'm in, and sign up for my newsletter if you want to download any of the resources, which are going to be these word trackers and badges. You can also join my Facebook group, the 250,000 word challenge, which I'm linking below, and that will be a place where we can just hang out and support each other in trying to reach our goal. But honestly, the biggest thing you want to do if you want in on this challenge is just remember that it's not about output, it's about consistency. It's not about the words, it's about the habits. The habits are our goal here, and the words are just the way we're going to measure whether that habit is being built. Check out